What if I told you the key to freedom is actually being willing to be disliked? Sounds backward, right? Yet millions have transformed their lives with this single insight. In the next 20 minutes, you'll discover the Adlerian secret to authentic living that's captivated readers worldwide. Listen now for the 3 mental shifts that will free you from the approval trap forever.
StoryShots book summary and review of The Courage to be Disliked, the Japanese phenomenon that shows you how to change your life and achieve real happiness, by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Life gets busy. Has The Courage to be Disliked been on your reading list? Learn the key insights now. We're scratching the surface here. If you don't already have Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga's book on psychology, philosophy, and self-help, get the audiobook for free using the link in the description or the StoryShots app to learn the juicy details. Introduction.
Have you ever noticed how much energy you spend worrying about what others think of you? Do you find yourself making choices based on others' approval rather than your own values? The Courage to be Disliked tackles these common struggles through a unique format, a conversation between a philosopher and a young man. Over 5 nights, they explore Alfred Adler's psychology, which offers a refreshing take on happiness, freedom, and relationships. Unlike typical self-help books, this one doesn't offer quick fixes. Instead, it presents a complete philosophy for living. It argues that your past doesn't control your future, that all problems come from relationships, and that true freedom requires the courage to be disliked. These core principles form the foundation of this Ichiro Kishimi book summary, which will help you apply Adlerian psychology to your everyday life. What would your life look like if you stopped seeking everyone's approval? How might your decisions change if you lived by your own values instead of society's expectations? Let's explore the answers together.
About Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga.
Ichiro Kishimi is a Japanese philosopher and certified Adlerian psychology counselor. Born in Kyoto, he has spent decades making complex Western philosophical ideas accessible to Japanese audiences through his writings and lectures. Kishimi has translated several books on Adlerian psychology into Japanese and has written extensively about applying these principles in everyday life. His knowledge of both Eastern and Western philosophical traditions allows him to present universal truths in simple, practical ways. Fumitake Koga is an award-winning Japanese writer and novelist who has published several acclaimed works in Japan. He collaborates with experts to bring complex ideas to general readers. His storytelling skills perfectly complement Kishimi's philosophical expertise. Together, they created a unique dialogue format that makes Adlerian psychology easy to understand. Their book became a sensation in Japan, selling over 3.5 million copies before being translated into English and other languages, establishing both authors as influential voices in modern self-development. This Japanese philosophy self-help book has resonated with readers looking to break free from seeking approval and living authentically.
StoryShot 1. Your past doesn't determine your future.
Many of us believe we're trapped by our past experiences. We think our childhood, traumas, or genetics control who we are and what we can become. This belief, called determinism, makes us feel powerless to change. The philosopher boldly states, "Your past doesn't determine your future." This core principle of Adlerian psychology differs from Freudian theories that emphasize past experiences. According to Adler, we aren't driven by past causes, but by future goals. This freedom from past psychology represents a significant difference in the Adler versus Freud psychology debate. Your life is not something that someone gives you, but something you choose yourself, and you are the one who decides how you live. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Notice when you create stories about your past to justify current choices. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't change because of what happened to me," challenge this belief. Start asking, how am I choosing my current situation? even if these choices feel unconscious. By separating your past from your future, you gain freedom and responsibility. While past events can't be changed, your interpretation of them can. This shift is both liberating and demanding. You can no longer blame external factors, but you gain the power to author your own life. Have you ever used your past as an excuse to avoid making changes? What story about your past might you need to reinterpret to move forward? Share your thoughts with us by leaving a comment or on social media at StoryShots.
StoryShot 2. All problems are relationship problems.
We often view our struggles as purely personal. Anxiety, depression, career challenges, or health issues seem unconnected to others. This perception can lead to ineffective solutions that don't address the real source of our problems. The philosopher makes a surprising claim: all problems are interpersonal relationship problems. This insight suggests that the root of all psychological problems lies in how we relate to others and our place in the community. Understanding interpersonal relationship problems is essential to applying the main points of the courage to be disliked in your life. Next time you face a challenge, look for the relationship component. For example, work anxiety often stems from fears about colleagues' perceptions or disappointing your boss. Even when alone, we carry these relationship patterns with us. By recognizing the interpersonal nature of problems, you gain clarity about their true source. Instead of trying to fix yourself in isolation, you can address the relationship dynamics that created the issue in the first place.
StoryShot 3. Separate tasks to maintain healthy boundaries.
Many relationship struggles come from boundary confusion. We take responsibility for others' feelings or blame them for our emotions. This creates unhealthy dynamics where everyone feels burdened and resentful. Adler introduced the concept of separation of tasks, a clear understanding of what's your responsibility and what belongs to others. This task separation psychology is demonstrated through a simple example. A mother loses sleep over her son's homework, but studying is the son's task, not hers. It is not that anyone can get rid of interpersonal relationship problems. What we should learn is the approach of not taking up other people's problems. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Identify areas where you've taken on others' tasks. At work, your task is to perform well, not to make your boss happy. In relationships, your task is to be supportive, not to solve others' problems. Practice saying, "I care about you, but this is your challenge to face." Proper separation of tasks creates healthier relationships with clear boundaries. You'll experience less anxiety over things outside your control. Others will develop more responsibility for their own lives. Both parties gain freedom and authenticity. Pause this audiobook to take a moment and answer these questions. Which relationship in your life might benefit from better task separation psychology? What task have you taken on that isn't truly yours to carry?
StoryShot 4. Develop the courage to be disliked.
Fear of others' disapproval traps many people in unfulfilling lives. This fear drives countless decisions, from career choices to daily social interactions, preventing authentic self-expression. One of the courage to be disliked main points is that living freely requires the courage to be disliked. This doesn't mean deliberately antagonizing others, but being willing to face disapproval when living according to your values demands it. Freedom is being disliked by other people. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Start with small acts of authenticity. Express an honest opinion in a respectful way. Pursue an interest others might find unusual. Set a necessary boundary even when others push back. Each small step builds your courage muscle. Learning how to be authentic despite criticism is a skill that develops with practice. The courage to be happy also includes the courage to be disliked. When you have gained that courage, your interpersonal relationships will all at once change into things of lightness. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. As you develop this courage, you'll experience greater freedom and authenticity. While some people might indeed dislike your choices, others will be drawn to your genuine self-expression. Your relationships become more meaningful based on who you truly are, rather than a carefully constructed image.
Story shot 5. Let go of the need for recognition.
Many of us are addicted to approval. We work overtime for praise, help others to be seen as generous, or pursue achievements mainly for recognition. This creates a life where our happiness depends on others' evaluations. The philosopher explains that true freedom comes from letting go of the need for recognition. When your actions are driven by internal values rather than external validation, you regain independence and authenticity. This shift from contribution versus recognition happiness is transformative for many readers of The Courage to be Disliked. Test your motives by asking, would I still do this if no one ever knew about it? Practice doing good deeds without telling anyone. Pursue skills and interests for the joy of the experience rather than the praise they might bring. As you reduce your dependence on recognition, you'll experience more stable satisfaction. Your self-worth becomes grounded in your values rather than others' opinions. You can enjoy praise when it comes, but no longer need it to feel worthy. Think about a recent decision or action. Was it motivated by genuine interest or the desire for recognition? How might that decision change if recognition weren't a factor? Join the conversation in the comments.
Story shot 6. Find meaning through contribution.
Many people chase happiness through acquisition. More money, better relationships, higher status. This getting mindset creates a perpetual sense of lack, where there's always more to want and never enough satisfaction. Adler suggests a fundamental shift. Move from asking, what can I get, to what can I contribute? According to the philosopher, meaning comes not from what we receive, but from what we give to the world and others. Happiness is the feeling of contribution. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Look for ways to contribute in your daily life. This doesn't mean self-sacrifice, but finding how your natural strengths and interests can benefit others. A teacher contributes by helping students learn. An artist contributes by creating beauty. Even a smile or kind word to a stranger counts. Understanding contribution versus recognition happiness is another key principle in this summary of The Courage to be Disliked. When you shift to a contribution mindset, you gain agency instead of waiting for the world to make you happy. You build healthy community connections and move beyond the comparison trap, since contribution isn't a zero-sum game.
Story shot 7. Live fully in the present moment.
Many people escape the present by dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. These mental time shifts help us avoid facing current challenges, but prevent us from fully living and addressing the tasks right in front of us. The philosopher argues that the only moment we can actually live in is now. Adler identified tasks of life that include building relationships, contributing through work, and giving or receiving love, all of which can only be addressed in the present. The greatest life lie of all is to not live here and now, to not live this moment to the full. Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Practice the courage of the ordinary by fully engaging with everyday realities. Have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Put genuine effort into your current work. Show up authentically in today's relationships rather than postponing life until some future achievement. These living in the present moment techniques form a practical application of Adlerian psychology. Present-focused living brings a quality of attention that transforms ordinary interactions. You'll waste less energy on regrets or worries and have more capacity for meaningful engagement with what's actually happening now.
Story shot 8. Develop community feeling to create belonging.
Modern life often leaves people feeling isolated, even when surrounded by others. This disconnection contributes to various psychological problems, as humans fundamentally need to feel they belong to a community. Adler introduced the concept of Gemeinschaftsgefühl. community feeling Adler described as social interest. This goes beyond simple sociability to a deep sense of connection with humanity and understanding that your well-being is linked to others. Develop community feeling. Adler emphasized by noticing interconnection in daily life. How many people contributed to the food you eat, clothes you wear, and infrastructure you use? Look for small opportunities to contribute. Practice seeing others as equals rather than competitors or judges. As you build stronger community feeling, you'll experience less isolation and more meaning. Your actions take on greater significance when understood as contributions to a larger whole. Even in solitude, you can maintain this sense of human connection.
StoryShot 9. Learn the mental models from Adlerian psychology.
This Ichiro Kishimi book summary explores several powerful mental models from Adlerian psychology that you can apply across different areas of life such as work. The horizontal versus vertical relationship model. In vertical relationships, you constantly compare yourself to others, trying to be superior or avoiding inferiority. In horizontal relationships, you interact with others as equals, neither above nor below. Use this model in workplace dynamics by focusing on collaboration rather than competition. Instead of asking who's ahead, ask how can we combine our strengths? The task separation filter. A decision-making framework that helps identify what's truly your responsibility versus what belongs to others. When facing work challenges, apply this filter by asking, is this actually my task to solve? This prevents taking on problems that belong to other departments or individuals. The contribution mindset, evaluating choices based on what you can add rather than what you can get. When considering career moves, use this mindset to assess opportunities not just by salary or title, but by how they allow you to contribute value to others and society.
StoryShot 10. Implementation Guide.
Here are 3 simple steps to start applying the main points of the courage to be disliked today. 1. Today, 5-minute action. Create a task separation note in your phone. When you find yourself affected by someone else's mood, clarify the boundary by writing, their mood is their task. My response to their mood is my task. This simple distinction can create immediate relief by clarifying responsibility. 2. This week, 15-minute action. Conduct a recognition audit by making 2 columns, things you do mainly for praise versus things you do regardless of recognition. Look for one activity from the recognition column you can approach differently this week. 3. Ongoing practice. Implement a daily contribution moment by asking each morning, how can I add value today? Start with small, specific actions that align with your natural strengths.
Final summary and review.
This summary of the courage to be disliked presents transformative insights based on Alfred Adler's psychology. Through a dialogue between a philosopher and a young man, we've explored 8 powerful principles that challenge conventional wisdom about happiness and growth. We've learned that your past doesn't determine your future. You can reinterpret past events and choose your path forward. All problems are fundamentally relationship problems rooted in how we connect with others. Separating tasks creates clear boundaries in relationships, freeing you from taking responsibility for others' choices. True freedom requires the courage to be disliked, the willingness to face disapproval when living by your values. Letting go of the need for recognition liberates you from dependence on others' evaluations. Finding meaning through contribution creates fulfilling engagement with life. Awareness of the present moment helps you address life's tasks directly. Building community feeling creates a sense of belonging essential to well-being. The courage to be disliked main points covered in this summary include: your past doesn't determine your future. All problems are interpersonal relationship problems. Separate tasks to maintain healthy boundaries. Develop the courage to be disliked. Let go of the need for recognition. Find meaning through contribution. Live fully in the present moment. Develop a community feeling to create belonging. Which of these principles would make the biggest difference in your life right now? Leave a comment or tag us on social media at StoryShots and share which insight you plan to implement first.
Criticism.
While the courage to be disliked offers valuable insights, it has several limitations. The dialogue format sometimes oversimplifies complex psychological concepts. The book's focus on individual choice, while empowering, might underestimate the impact of systemic factors, trauma, and clinical mental health conditions. The cultural context, rooted in Japanese society, may not fully translate to other cultures with different social dynamics. Some Western readers might find the philosopher's absolute statements too prescriptive. The book also sometimes presents false dichotomies rather than acknowledging that human motivation is often complex and layered.
Rating.
We rate The Courage to be Disliked 4.2 out of 5.
Related book summaries on StoryShots.
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. A powerful memoir and psychological exploration of finding meaning, even in the most horrific circumstances, complementing Adler's focus on choice and purpose. 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. A practical guide to living a meaningful life through responsibility and truth, sharing similar themes about the importance of personal choice and contribution. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. A modern take on Stoicism that encourages readers to prioritize what truly matters and let go of others' opinions, perfectly aligning with the courage to be disliked. Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. Explores vulnerability as the path to authentic living, reinforcing the Adlerian concept that true connection requires courage and authenticity. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Offers practical strategies for behavior change that complement Adler's focus on choosing your future rather than being determined by your past. Mindset by Carol Dweck. Examines how our beliefs about our abilities affect our success, resonating with Adler's emphasis on interpretation over fixed determinism. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Presents wisdom for personal freedom through 4 simple agreements, supporting the liberation from social conditioning that Adler advocates. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Focuses on present moment awareness as the path to fulfillment, mirroring Adler's emphasis on living fully in the present. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Provides insights on building positive relationships that complement Adler's interpersonal focus. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Offers principles for effectiveness and interdependence that align with Adlerian concepts of contribution and community feeling.